What is up, guys? Wrestling Premiere is here. Say no more, I got you. I wanted to make this one since December. As a matter of fact, I wanted to cover Christian's entire TNA run because that's where he proved that he's got the goods. Had he remained in WWE around this time period, it would have been stagnant. Of course, he'd feature in Money in the Bank, a show opener, but I doubt he'd make progress. Nowadays, he's going to teach the AEW guys some valuable lessons, and while I doubt he'll actually win the title, it'll probably be a fun ride. Do I hope to see him team up with Edge in the future? Yes, definitely, most definitely. But this run's going to be filled with good matches for certain. Now, regarding this title run, it was the first time Christian got the chance to show that he is a main eventer. Was it a good one? Yeah, it was a pretty good one. You know, there was a memorable feud with Abyss. The matches were pretty good. Add to that, he had some good-ass promos too. Yeah, I liked it. I like it due to the fact that Christian got to show that he can be a main event babyface. You know, we all know he's a good heel, but here he showed that he could be a good top guy. With that said, Christian, TNA champ, let's get into it. So, of course, you may know that I talked about how the Instant Classic made its way to TNA. Now he captured the title. It's this video. It took him about 3 months to reach the top of TNA, but he did it at this point. He was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. On the February 18, 2006 episode of Impact, Christian Cage came out to talk about said title victory. Once he enters the ring, Captain Charisma said that he's waited 12 long years to do this, and he raises the title in the air. The title victory, as said by himself, was dedicated to the guys held back. He mentioned all the rejection quotes, you know, you don't got the right look, we needed to put a blue dot on your face. He didn't say that, but you get it. In his eyes, this was nothing more than an opportunity, and last Sunday he made the most out of it. Christian listed the guys of past who held that same title belt and even called it the most prestigious belt in wrestling. Regarding the number one contender, Monty Brown, he said that he's going to face it. Why? Because that's how he rolls. Damn. Look at how determined this guy was to make this work. TNA gave him the opportunity right out of the gate, and spoiler alert, he knocked it so far out of the park that upon returning to WWE, he should have been in the main event. But hey, it is what it is. Later that night, the Alpha Male paid a visit to the champ's locker room, showing off the air before anything went down. But the number one contender opted to force the NWA World Champion to come out to the ring the following week. New champ comes out and affirmed the statement that there will be no glass ceiling in TNA, and he heard about the Serengeti talk. He proceeds to ask the most random question. Monty, what is the capital of Thailand? He didn't answer. Christian honored Bangkok before banging him, and a brawl ensues. At the same time, Christian Cage's little no glass ceiling statement resonated with a certain monster, Abyss. James Mitchell felt that he was a thief hopping over Abyss to take the title shot, so he threatened Christian, telling him to make a championship match soon. Champ heard enough of these people's complaints, but before he could say much, the Alpha Male makes the attack. They make their way to the arena, and while Captain Charisma did right the ship, the Alpha Male pounced him right into a rail. He proceeded to hoist the title in the air, and yeah, that's the build to their match at Destination X. It's pretty short. Regarding their match at the event, it was good, not outstanding or anything like that, but for Christian's first title defense, cool. The problem with the match, though, well, not match, but the story is the fact that it really affected Monty Brown, you know. He was pushed aside following it. He never captured the world title in TNA. He was a missed opportunity, many believe that, but with that said, he dominated for most of the match. Christian was a babyface we all know and love. You know, he takes all that punishment, he absorbs it all, and capitalized on Brown's mistake to retain the gold. Right afterwards, everyone, aka no one's favorite wrestler, Jeff Jarrett, came out to demand a rematch right down and there, and he was ready to make Christian a transitional champion like his brother up north. Yup, he mentioned Edge. The champ, on the other hand, wasn't scared. He said that after beating Monty ass, yeah, he literally called him that was a botch. He was ready to fight Jarrett, but there was nothing he can do about it. You know, it's up to the TNA higher-ups to make the matches. The heels then attacked, but despite this super Christian Cage managed to catch them off guard. Abyss then appeared. Rhino made the save. Team Canada ruins everything and whoops Christian's ass with a belt. They were passing that belt around like a bong. Everyone got to enjoy themselves, but then Steve Borden came out. It made everyone look like jobbers, which was funny to see, and the guys are so damn terrified of Sting that Scott Steiner, of all people, had to make his debut and put a stop to this. Now that Monty Brown was in Christian Cage's rear view, he had to focus on Abyss. Christian was talking about how Sting doesn't deserve to be stalked, but ironically, the same exact thing would happen to him later that month. So Father James Mitchell gave Christian a disturbing prophecy for the future and said that since Christian won't come to them, they'll come to Christian. Alex Shelley, who was doing this paparazzi production gimmick, felt that they should record this little incident. That's exactly what they did. Footage emerged the following week of Shelley and Mitchell stalking Christian's wife. James Mitchell ended up confronting her and told her that it was odd that hubby left his wife so vulnerable and alone. Basically, this was all a warning to the champ ahead of lockdown. But that wasn't it, because there was a second part to all this the next week. So, Abyss and James Mitchell made their way to the Impact Zone the following week. Mitchell was annoyed over the fact that Christian, who said it was his dream to become champion, has run off to make movies. Add to that, he broke the vow protecting his wife. Basically, Mitchell was a man of his word in the sense that he'll do anything to get that title shot for Abyss. You want Christian chance to intensify, but that wasn't going to happen because James Mitchell showed part 2 of paparazzi production. Okay, if you know, you know, but this is one of the more memorable moments from early TNA. Why? Well, the trio ended up paying Christian a visit to his home. They whooped his ass, and Abyss even attempted to drown him. But after Father James Mitchell told him that you can't win a title from a dead man, he stopped. The commentary team were so disgusted by this that Don West decided to walk out. But Christian didn't stay down for long. He made his return the following week with a tire iron in hand, and those two made a run for it. Christian Cage accepted a challenge for Lockdown, and because of what went down, he asked Abyss, "Are you prepared to die? Because I'm willing to." It wasn't a typical title match. It was personal. Christian was going to do something about it come hell or high water. Before their match at Lockdown, Christian Cage and Abyss had one final confrontation ahead of the 6 Sides of Steel match. First of all, Christian said that Abyss has done nothing but piss him off to the point where he wanted to beat up somebody like never before. And he thought it was stupid how Abyss was a monster, yet he's got no set of balls. And while he may not be 6'8" or 300 pounds, he's the NWA champion, and saying he'll die for this title is factual. He means it. Christian claimed that Abyss is scared of the fact that he, champ, is not afraid. Father James Mitchell heard enough and told the champion that they didn't humiliate him and his wife for pleasure. It's because they wanted him to lose control, because that would lead to a loss of focus, meaning there's a big chance he loses the belt on Sunday. Hell, Mitchell even guaranteed that his WMD, his weapon of mass destruction, is going to walk out of the cage with the title. At the same time, Abyss attacks. Torture rack wasn't to be, and Christian fought back with a mic. Hell, he almost hit the Unprettier, but Abyss caught him with a black hole slam. But wait, there's more. He proceeded to wrap a chain around the champ's neck, choking him out. So that is the build for this match. It was very personal already. Regarding their match at Lockdown, it was probably the best match of the title reign. It depends on how you see it. First of all, Christian didn't even have time to prepare for the match because Abyss made the attack beforehand. But this didn't stop Captain Charisma. Hell, he had the match won on 2 occasions, but the ref was knocked down. Then to top it all off, he had a super frog splash that shockingly wasn't enough for the victory because Abyss was a monster. Unprettier attempt to go south, and attacks are brought in. The King James Mitchell brought in was utilized by Christian, who then climbed out of the cage, but Abyss just slammed the ref into the ropes. The challenger would soon learn that was a mistake because Christian ended up going for the sunset flip onto the taxes. No ref, but after several seconds he kicked out. Both men were very resilient, especially Christian, who took a black hole slam and kicked out. Mitchell brings in the taxes again, but it was a big mistake because Christian Cage caught Abyss with the Unprettier right onto the damn taxes to retain the title. He looked really good out there. I'd like to call him Super Christian from here on if we're making TNA videos on him. Why? Because he put in a valiant performance and managed to beat the biggest monster in TNA. After the match, though, he screwed himself over by walking back into the cage in order to go after James Mitchell. This led to Abyss bringing in the chain and cracking his skull open, and before Christian knew it, he was getting choked out, all while the fans watched on in horror. As if that wasn't bad enough, they also stole his title. So now the feud was kicking into another gear, the 7th gear. 5 days later on Impact, he whooped Abyss's ass, but he couldn't take back his property. He knew very well that Abyss still wanted a match, so he challenged him to a Full Metal Mayhem bout at Sacrifice. Funniest part was when he called him an ugly bitch! Before Sacrifice, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion made a rare in-ring appearance facing Alex Shelley in the main event. It gave him somewhat of a hard time, but it didn't lead to a loss for the champion. Meanwhile, James Mitchell suggested that Christian come to the Impact Zone next week and try to take back his championship. That's exactly what he tried to do on the final Impact before Sacrifice. Captain Charisma runs in, whacking him with a ladder. Hell, he even dived off the ladder onto a bunch of guards in Abyss, and it definitely fits as a clip in a Titantron for Christian. It was a moment that stuck in my head, and it was finally going to happen. Despite the fact that he didn't have the title on his waist, Christian still felt and had the aura of champion to him. He didn't think Abyss carrying around the title makes him a champion. He told him to ask Jeff Jarrett, who's done that for 4 years. Whew, that was a burn. He was ready to embarrass his ugly ass for the final time because that's how he rolls. The match itself once again delivered, and it was a great way to end the feud, and it also made Christian look like the man. As Don West said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. He took risks that at times didn't pay off, but like a champion, fought through the adversity. Hell, by the looks of it, Christian took even more punishment than Abyss. The challenger was a huge dumbass for obsessing over the tax, and this proved to be his wrongdoing. James Mitchell also got his comeuppance too after Christian slammed him on the tax. Captain Charisma had the match won, but opted to inflict additional damage to Abyss before retrieving the belt and ending the feud on top. Christian was basically proving why he was the right guy to push. He had great promos, great matches, and memorable stories, but it was going to come to an end soon. On the May 18th, 2006 episode of Impact, Christian Cage came out to discuss his match at Sacrifice and talked about what's to come. The champ called Sacrifice the best night since he won the title in February, and he said that the title belongs to the peeps just as much as it belongs to himself. Regarding Slammiversary and the King of the Mountain match, he knew damn well that the champ has never walked out with a title. But to hell with tradition, Christian wanted to change things and wanted to know the 4 men who are stepping up. All of a sudden, the Alpha Male emerged. Rhino came out from the other side. Ron Killings was in the crowd. Raven was on the balcony. Abyss was lurking from somewhere. And there's Jeff Jarrett. and Scott Steiner. He came out complaining about how the wannabes like Raven and Rhino shouldn't even be considered for this match, and if anyone deserves to be in the main event, it's himself. All of a sudden, it's Sting! Larry Zbyszko had to pop up on the screen and make a few matches. The 4 men who win their respective matches go on to Slammiversary to challenge Christian Cage for the title. It's as simple as that. Abyss was the first man to qualify. Ron the Truth Killings followed suit a week later. Jeff Jarrett and Sting did qualify also, so there's that. On the final Impact before the King of the Mountain match, Christian gave his final thoughts regarding his opponents. While the match didn't favor the champ, Christian felt confident. He praised Abyss, calling him one of the toughest SOB he's ever faced, but said that he, Abyss, couldn't be him. Ron Killings, you say you want it the most, you're the hungriest guy, and I can hear it in your voice when you say, what's up? Captain Charisma was just sarcastically praising him there. Jeff Jarrett, well, he's already said what he said about him. You know, Jarrett's done a good job of embarrassing himself. And then there's Sting. Christian was ready to say something, but he preferred to hear it in person. Champ, though, saw as Stinger trying to steal thunder. That wasn't the case. Sting claimed that he's in TNA just to get rid of Jeff Jarrett. That's all. It's as simple as that. Well, Captain Charisma didn't believe any of it. He then asked Sting, if the title was to be at your grasp, wouldn't you try and hang it up? He claims there's not much to prove by winning the world title because that's been already done in the past. But he's on a quest to remove Jeff Jarrett from TNA. Here's Spine saying that the worst thing that could happen to TNA is if Christian Cage loses the belt, and he refused to be upstage during this time, simply put. The match at Slammiversary, it was fun as hell. Despite the ending, it was an overbooked mess. You know, there was high drama, and you might like it. The guys had to score a pinfall or submission in order to be eligible to hang the title. Losers yelled for 2 minutes. Near the end, Sting just handed the title to Christian, making good on his promise, but Larry Zbyszko, of all people, ended up low-blowing him. Sting whoops his ass before making himself eligible to hang the title, and as Stinger slowly climbing the rungs, Christian puts a stop to it. He's like, didn't you say you're gonna let me win this or whatever? They engage in a tug of war before Earl Hebner, of all people, pushes the ladder. Jeff Jarrett climbs up, and by God, the heat Jeff Jarrett got was so damn ridiculous, and it puts Triple H's reign of terror to shame. He ended up winning the match. The fans' worst nightmare came true, and this was the TNA version of Triple H's reign of terror. It was almost never ending, and Jeff Jarrett just should have become champion here. It was a mess. You might as well call that a dumpster, not a ring. Before Jarrett could even celebrate, Jim Cornette ended up taking the title away, and it would be resolved later that week. This incident is better known as the Orlando Screwjob. TNA would do this once again 4 years later with Kurt Angle and Hulk Hogan, and it was just some dumb stuff. But yeah, Jeff Jarrett was the champion, and Christian Cage's title reign was over. Overall, the title reign was pretty good. You know, it showed that Christian could lead the brand. The fans were into him. He had great matches. He delivered every time he was in there. It was like he had a point to prove. And I don't want to say it's like. I'm pretty sure that's what he literally thought at the time. I would definitely do a second title run. His heel feud with Rhino and all that stuff. You know, the coalition with AJ Styles and Tomko. Definitely. As for other TNA videos, I'm currently working on a Kevin Nash X Division thing. I think that's a cool idea. We'll continue the Kurt Angle Samoa Joe story also. Like I said in previous videos, I would have done the Main Event Mafia, but Impact doesn't have any of those episodes on neither Fight nor the Impact Plus subscription thing. I might just compromise and try to search the internet for the episodes, perhaps. So yeah, I will definitely do more TNA videos in the near future. Expect Kevin Nash X Division probably to be the next one. As for Christian, this one, I liked this title reign. It was enjoyable. Good matches, good promos, so there's that. What do you guys think of Christian Cage's first title reign? Please comment down below. And that's it for this video. Make sure you hit the frog splash on the like button, perhaps the Unported on the subscribe button. Peace, I'm out.